But the challenges of Prader-Willi syndrome make Darcy's everyday life quite unlike that of other kids his age. For a start, Darcy is never alone. Without our cameras with him, Darcy wouldn't be trusted to walk to school unaccompanied, because his body is constantly telling him to hunt out food. Because PWS also affects intellectual development, Darcy reads at several years below his age and prefers to play with younger children. His emotional development is also affected. Hikurangi School has taken special steps to cope with Darcy's unique needs. All food, including other children's lunches, is locked away. This helps to foil Darcy's natural urge to forage.
The boys have been told time and time again to lock their food in that cupboard, but there's times where the boys just can't be bothered. And he goes through their bags to see who the lazy ones are and who will eat their lunch. I've seen him sitting out here when there's been an apple core sitting in the garden, and he'll sit there like this, and if it's behind him, he'll see it, and then he'll just slowly, without anybody sort of noticing, reach down, pull it up, and then carry on eating it like it was his apple.
A sausage for Christmas.
To help deal with Darcy's hunger, the school has 2 40-minute lunch breaks per day. But even a 3-hour wait for food can be too long.
It must be hard for him to be in here and to know there's food just locked in that cupboard and trying to focus on doing things like spelling and reading and writing.
Desperate to fit in with normal classroom activities, Darcy tries to avoid the special attention his condition often calls for. And though he tries to be the best boy in room 11, he often slips up. He has frequent outbursts and temper tantrums when his desire for food is not met, or his routines are disturbed.
Get up and put your stuff away. Put your stuff away, Dusty. Nah, sweet then, no tea. Get up and put your stuff away. Put it away.
He has been known to bite, swear, and hit teachers and other children.
Fuck you. That's naughty. Don't do that. Darcy, don't.
But Darcy's behaviour, like his appetite, is something he cannot fully control. The same complex brain structure, known as the hypothalamus, which controls appetite, is also responsible for regulating our behaviour.
In adolescence, the major issues for Prader-Willi syndrome revolve around personality problems. They start in childhood, but they become progressively more stubborn. Temper tantrums and anger, mood alterations, depression are also a major feature.
Darcy's growing physicality makes him a handful for school staff.
He is capable of throwing the chairs around the classroom. He will upend tables. He will verbally abuse teachers. We have occasionally had to restrain him physically and wait until he calms down, which can be a while.
To help manage this behaviour, Darcy has been given his very own teacher aide, Fred.
Darcy Smith. He likes his routines. If there's any changes, you need to let him know beforehand. It's like reading a book. If you read a book continuously and you know how the story goes, and then somebody comes along and rips out the middle of a page, well, it just throws the whole book all out of whack. So if you do that with Darcy, it's going to throw his whole day all out of whack, you know, and consequences can be not good.
Close. The two have formed a close bond that helps Darcy get through the long school day.
Don't worry about that. With his hunger, it's always there all the time. When you come in the morning, the first question you ask you is, what did you have for tea last night? So food is always on his mind. But if you keep him busy and give him an activity so that you can actually take the thinking away from food, he's all good. Good shot!
The transition from adolescence to independence is one which those with Prader-Willi never fully make. Francie Thornton lives in her own flat, but she is never alone. Her compulsion to seek food means she must live under constant supervision.
Is that ginger beer you put in there, Francie?
Yeah.
What will it taste like with ginger beer in it?
It will probably taste like ginger.
She is on a strict 1,000-calorie daily diet, around half of what most people eat, and her caregivers keep all food under lock and key. She must also keep to a regular fitness plan, but carrying extra weight makes most exercise difficult and uncomfortable.
I love swimming because you're in the water and the water's holding up your weight basically. Like you're floating and it's really nice. I mean, I find it quite easy.
But swimming also exposes her body and feelings to public ridicule.
One day I was at the pool and these kids told me that I was a bit too well. That's a real put off for me because I know I'm big. I don't need to be told that I'm as big as a whale. I try and do 40 lengths each time I go swimming, and that is 1 whole kilometre.
Swimming for 60 minutes will burn around 250 calories, or a quarter of her daily food intake. But while our cameras were with Francie, she managed just 10 minutes of sustained activity.
Hi, Francie, come in.
For Francie, losing weight means much more than just looking better. Heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure and cholesterol are just some of the illnesses related to obesity. And despite her strict diet and exercise regime, Francie still struggles with her weight.
Hilary, has the weight gone up since last time?
Have a look here. You worried about that?
Yeah.
Yes, it has. Was 115, 123 now. Oh, hang on.
I'm not taking it.
3.
What's going wrong?
Francie, this is bad.
That is bad.
What's going
Very
wrong?
bad.
What's going wrong?
No idea. No idea whatsoever.
The computer says you're morbidly obese.
Has anybody been giving you extra food?
No. No, honestly.
And where do I bump into you, Francie?
In town.
Yeah, we're in town.
I've seen you once at the supermarket.
There we go.
Francie's weight gain keeps me awake at night. You know, you wake up in the middle of the night and you think, well, where is this food coming from? How is this weight gain? Where is she slipping through the net?
I just say, me is me, and I've got to cope with it. And Mum's got to sort of accept the way how I am too.
4 months later, Francie comes clean and admits she's been buying snacks. Now she's being moved into a new house, away from the lure of the corner dairy.
Yeah, it was temptation. And on a hot day, I would sometimes go down and get an ice block or lollies, and lollies are not good. Things went wrong, but I'm happy that I've moved, and because it's going to be a new start to everything.
It may be a new start, but it's still the old Francie trying to make it.
There is a petrol station down in the corner, but there isn't really anything that would tempt me to buy, apart from my favourite, which is grain leaves. But they're not the most fattening thing you could buy, because they're baked, they're not fried.
There are still no appetite issues for almost 3-year-old Cameron O'Reilly. With the help of growth hormone, his physical development is coming on in leaps and bounds. But before he is 5, Cameron is expected to develop the insatiable appetite and behavioural problems typical of PWS. His father, Rhodey, is determined that Cameron won't be defined by the condition.
When he was born, one of the things they said about children with Prader-Willi is that they can't climb. And we've got a climbing frame out the back, and he's up there doing his best, climbing right to the top, and that's inspiring, and that's humbling, and that's just fantastic.
Happy birthday to you.
Cameron's 3rd birthday party brings mixed emotions to the family. It may be the last time he is allowed free access to sweets and party food. While the growth hormone therapy helps with many of the physical conditions of the syndrome, it will not fix the part of Cameron's brain which tells him his body is starving.
In the back of our minds all the time, there's a real sense of anxiety about when the eating disorder will kick in. We try to tell ourselves daily that it won't kick in, but it's one of our greatest aims.